I drop into the worn leather armchair that's molded perfectly to my shape, tug off my work boots, and stretch my sore feet. Every hour today vanished into the Buchanan House restoration, warped floors, decayed plaster, and a stubborn century-old staircase that seemed intent on resisting every nail I drove in. My whole body hums with that heavy, earned fatigue that comes only after a job done right. A faint vibration hums from the coffee table. I glance toward my phone but ignore it, reaching instead for the Cabernet I poured earlier. The deep red catches the fading sunlight spilling through the craftsman-style windows, turning it to liquid gold. The buzzing returns. Once, twice. With a sigh, I take a long sip, then pick up the phone and scroll through the glowing screen. Endless messages from builders and clients blur past until something stops me cold. My thumb hovers, frozen. A picture of my sister Nyla fills the display. White satin hugging her frame, her face alight beneath a sheer veil. The caption reads, "Final fitting for the big day. Nyla and Travis. Forever after." My lungs tighten. A wedding. What wedding? Panic flickers as I scroll faster. My feed floods with posts. My cousin Marissa modeling bridesmaid gowns, Aunt Rosa bent over flower samples, my mother's hands displaying embossed invitations I never received. I tap on the newest post. Beneath it, the comments pour in. Can't wait to celebrate next month. The venue looks gorgeous. So blessed to be part of your day. Dozens of messages, 57 in total. Family, friends, distant cousins, all tagged, all invited. Everyone except me. The ringtone slices through the air. My heart jumps. Cynthia Alvarez flashes on the screen. My mother. Perfect timing. I answer. Mom. Deborah, sweetheart. Her tone is deliberate. Too calm. I was just thinking of you. How's work? My hand clenches tight. Work's fine. I just saw Nyla's wedding dress on Instagram. 3 long seconds of silence. Then a small cough. I was going to call you about that, she says. My grip hardens on the phone. My sister's wedding? You were going to call? Her voice tightens, slipping into that old, familiar edge of reproach. Don't turn this into something about you, she says quietly. You know how delicate Nyla can be. Delicate? What does that have to do with anything? You're always tied up with work, she continues. Nyla thought you'd be too busy to come anyway. A chill moves through the room. I push myself up and walk to the window, watching the Denver skyline sparkle against the evening haze. So you all just decided to leave me out from my own sister's wedding? Travis values family, she offers, her tone steady as if that clarifies everything. And I'm not family now? The words scrape their way out of my throat. Of course you are, she replies, that measured patience returning. But you know how tense things have been since you criticized her cafe. I co-signed her loan, I remind her. $22,000 that I had to pay back after she walked away. She had her children to worry about. Mom says sharply. Being a single mother isn't easy, Deborah. I lean my forehead against the window pane, the glass cool against my skin. Memories flicker. Nyla at 10, shattering Grandma's vase, and me taking the blame. At 17, sneaking out while I covered for her. Me at 16, proud of my engineering scholarship, hearing Mom's dry response. Of course you got it. You're the responsible one. Always the responsible one. The dependable one. I'm not forgotten, Mom, I whisper. I've been erased. You're being dramatic. She sighs, that heavy exhale of a mother wearied by her child's emotion. We'll talk later. I need to help Nyla with the seating chart. The line clicks dead. I stare at the phone as fresh images fill my screen. Nyla spinning in her gown. Travis laughing with his groomsmen over cake samples. My parents smiling proudly beside the couple. A family photo and I'm missing from it. New messages flood in. Jenna, did you see? Call me. Marcus from work. What's going on with your sister's wedding? Mrs. Henderson next door. Dear, do you know what's happening with your family? Even people at the edges of my life have noticed what I wasn't supposed to. I sink back into the armchair, exhaustion pressing down like lead. 35 years spent rebuilding what others let crumble. Old mansions, broken plaster, decaying wood. I've restored beauty to forgotten places. But the one thing I can't mend is my place in this family. The thought settles over me like icy rain. All this time, I've been the fixer, the steady hand, the dependable one. And somehow, I've been left behind. I've co-signed their loans, watched the kids whenever they needed, listened through tears and midnight rants. I've been the one who always showed up when everyone else disappeared. And this silence, this omission, is what I get in return. The phone vibrates again, insistent, but I press the button without glancing at the screen and place it face down. Out the window, the mountains west of Denver shimmer in the fading light, their ridges glowing like copper. Beyond them lies Boulder, my parents' town, their old Victorians still standing proud, the same house where Nyla returned after Eric left, children in tow, the same house where a wedding is being planned without me. Something inside me stirs, not fury, not sorrow, something steadier, colder, a calm resolve. This time, I murmur into the stillness, I won't repair what they've shattered. I unlock my phone again, open Instagram, and start unfollowing. Nyla first, then Mom, then Dad, then the cousins who never thought to ask. Each tap feels like letting go of another weight that's been pulling me under for years. It isn't vengeance, it's clarity, a line drawn in quiet self-defense. Outside, the last strands of sunlight slip from the window panes, leaving the room draped in shadow. I don't reach for the light switch, I just sit there, surrounded by dusk, feeling lighter than I've felt in decades. For once, I'm not scrambling to hold the family together. The quiet that fills the room feels almost like peace. Gravel crunches beneath my tires as I pull into the long driveway of my parents' Victorian in Boulder. Morning sunlight splinters through the stained glass above the front door, scattering red and amber shards across the porch. The house rises against the mountains, its ornate trim and sloping eaves as familiar as my own face. My grip tightens around the steering wheel until my fingers ache. It's been 3 days since I learned about the wedding. 3 days of unanswered messages and Mom's increasingly theatrical voicemails. Then I spot him, Dad, hunched in the garage doorway, half hidden behind his endless projects. Today, it's the old '67 Mustang, the one he's been tinkering with since I was a teenager. He straightens when he notices me, swipes his hands on a rag dark with oil, his eyes flicking toward the house before returning to mine. No wave, just a small nod. I cut the engine and step into the warmth of a June morning. Dad, Debbie. He nods again, stepping back into the dim of the garage. Your mother's inside. Of course she is, and naturally, he won't stand next to her while this happens. Some dynamics never shift. The screen door groans as I step inside. The air carries the scent of cinnamon and brewed coffee. Mom's way of disguising tension with warmth. She appears in the kitchen doorway, her expression sculpted into practiced concern. Deborah, she says lightly, I was just about to call you. Cynthia Alvarez, master of perfect timing. Coffee? I baked your favorite cake, she offers. I don't want coffee. I stay rooted in the entryway, hands buried in my pockets. I want to know why I wasn't invited to Nyla's wedding. Her smile flickers, then rebuilds itself. Oh, sweetheart, it's not that simple. You've been so focused on your work. Don't. The word lands sharp, cutting through her excuse. That's not a reason. She turns back to the coffee pot, fiddling with it just to fill the silence. Nyla worried you might not approve of Travis. You can be intimidating. My laugh is brittle. Because I asked questions after she brought him home 3 weeks into dating? He values family, Mom says quietly, setting 2 mugs down with hands that tremble. And you've always been so independent. The garage door creaks open. Dad steps in, eyes on the floor. Don't make this harder than it already is, he mutters. Harder for who? I fire back, heat rising in my throat. For Nyla? For Travis? Or for you two? The ones who always cover for her? Mom's eyes fill with tears she's rehearsed for decades. That's not fair. Fair? The word bursts from me. Was it fair when I co-signed her cafe loan? $22,000, Mom. Money I had to repay after she ditched the business 9 months later. She had the children to think about, Dad interjects, finally lifting his gaze. After Eric left 4 years ago, I snap. The cafe failure was just last year. I take a step closer. I've been covering her debt while she posts photos from Sedona. Single motherhood is difficult, Mom whispers. And Travis, he's her chance to start over. Dad straightens a bit, seizing on that line. He's got a good position in pharmaceutical sales. He can give her stability. So that's it, I say quietly. She found herself a paycheck, And I'm the inconvenient one, the embarrassing sister. The realization lands heavy, cold. Did Travis tell you he doesn't want me there? Neither of them speaks. Their silence answers for them. He thinks I don't care about my family. The laugh that escapes me sounds brittle against the cozy kitchen air. That's a good one. Coming from a man who's known her all of 7 months. Please, try to understand, Mom says softly, placing a hand on my arm. This wedding means everything to her. After the cafe failed, after Eric left her with the kids, Dad adds, his voice steady. Emma and Lucas need stability, always the same defense. Those kids, 8-year-old Emma and 6-year-old Lucas, rolled out like human excuses for every reckless choice Nyla makes. And me? I ask quietly. What do I get? After covering her debts? After every weekend spent watching her children so she could go out? After months of midnight calls where she sobbed about Eric? You're stronger, Mom murmurs, as though it's praise. You've always been the responsible one, the family's safety net, the unpaid counselor, the on-call babysitter, but never the sister worth inviting. I turn toward the door, weariness settling deep in my bones. The burden of their expectations feels heavier than the wooden beams I lifted in the Buchanan house yesterday. Deborah, wait, Mom pleads, following me. We're family, I echo, pausing at the threshold. Is that what this is? Dad steps closer. Where are you going? Somewhere else, I say evenly. If Nyla wants her perfect wedding, she can have it. Just not with me. I walk out, leaving them in the doorway, their faces twisted in confusion, as though they can't fathom that I might finally refuse to carry the weight for once. 20 minutes later, I'm sliding into a booth at the Copper Kettle, the cafe where Jenna works, the only place that still feels neutral ground. Jenna spots me the moment I walk in and wordlessly sets a latte in front of me, before sliding into the seat across the booth. Rough one? She asks, reading my face the way only someone who's seen this pattern before can. Worse, I mutter, curling my hands around the warm cup. Apparently, I wasn't invited because Travis thinks I don't care about family. Travis? Her eyebrows shoot up. You mean the guy who's been around for, 5 minutes? He's suddenly the authority on family values? Apparently, I say again, the word heavy. Jenna glances over her shoulder, then pulls her phone from her pocket. Speaking of your future brother-in-law, she says, sliding the screen toward me. Kelly snapped these last night at Downtown Lounge. I stare down at the photos. Travis with his arms slung around a blonde woman who is very much not my sister. They're laughing, leaning in close, too close. In the final shot, his lips are pressed against her neck, the intimacy unmistakable. My stomach knots, not with shock, but with grim validation. When did she take these? I ask. Last night, Jenna replies. Around 11. I slide the phone back toward her, my pulse steady. And what exactly am I supposed to do with that? Tell your sister, she says slowly, or your parents. Stop the wedding before she ties herself to a liar. The old version of me would have. I'd have jumped in, tried to shield Nyla, absorbed her fury when she turned it all back on me. But now the word that forms in my mouth feels new, clean. No, I'm not doing that. Deborah, Jenna's voice is soft, uncertain. This time, I'll let the truth do its own work, I say, lifting my cup. Besides, I wasn't invited, remember? Not my circus. Jenna watches me, brow furrowed. That doesn't sound like you. Maybe it's time it did. The thought lands with surprising calm. I've spent years patching up Neela's chaos, cushioning every fall she took. And where has that led? Shut out of her life's biggest event. Jenna nods slowly. Fair point. I sit a little taller. Let Travis be who he is. Let Nyla decide what she wants. I'm done being the net that catches everyone else's wreckage. And if she actually marries him, then she marries him. The words come out level, stripped of emotion. They should sting, but they don't. You can't save someone who doesn't want saving. For the first time, I don't lunge toward the crisis. I let it happen. The stillness feels heavy, awkward, but beneath it, a thin thread of freedom hums. That night, I pour a glass of Cabernet and curl into the window seat, watching Denver's skyline shimmer under the dark. My phone lies face down on the coffee table, muted by choice. 3 weeks since I learned about the wedding. And today, the day itself, the grand affair at the Ridgewood estate. Ridgewood. The name alone sounds like privilege carved into marble. Jenna said Mom spent weeks overseeing the decor. White roses, gold trim, every corner dripping elegance. 150 guests, local reporters ready to chronicle the union of Travis Reed, accomplished engineer, and Nyla Alvarez, radiant bride. I sip slowly, tasting the wine's deep warmth. For the 10th time today, I fight the reflex to open social media. What's the point? Instead, I reach for my worn copy of Restoration Ethics in Historical Architecture, the one anchor that never fails to ground me. But then the phone vibrates sharply against the table. Once, twice, a third time. Relentless. The steady vibration gnaws at my nerves until I can't ignore it anymore. I set down my book, exhale, and grab the phone. 27 notifications, all within the last 4 minutes. My thumb hesitates above the screen. I could silence it, finish my glass of wine, and stay blissfully uninformed. But habit, that old, ingrained instinct to stay on top of everything, wins. I swipe. A video immediately floods the display. Shaky footage from Ridgewood's grand ballroom. White roses spill across the room exactly as Jenna had described. Guests stand in tight clusters along the walls, faces pale with tension. At the center, Nyla and Travis. My sister's face is streaked with mascara, her wedding gown wrinkled and clenched in both fists as she screams words lost to the crowd. Travis looms over her, tuxedo undone, tie hanging crooked. His face twists with fury. "You knew I was seeing someone?" His voice roars through the tiny speaker, sharp and raw. "You set me up?" Nyla shoves him hard in the chest. "Everyone knew," she fires back. "You weren't exactly discreet." Then his arm flashes. The open-handed smack rings out loud enough that the crowd gasps in unison. The camera jolts as the person filming flinches. "Oh my God," I whisper, hand flying to my mouth. The clip cuts off abruptly. I scroll frantically through the barrage of messages. Jenna, Deborah, are you seeing this? Marcus, holy hell, the Reed Alvarez wedding is blowing up on Instagram. Mrs. Henderson, dear, your family is on the news. Channel 9. My heart sinks. I open the local news app. There it is, already tagged breaking. Society wedding ends in assault charges. The footage plays again from another angle. Mom's horrified expression flashes in the background. Dad pushing forward before 2 men hold him back. The anchor's voice drones over the chaos. Police were called to the Ridgewood estate this evening after groom Travis Reed allegedly struck bride Nyla Alvarez during a heated altercation over claims of infidelity. I shut off the phone and toss it aside, breath quick and shallow. My pulse thunders in my ears. And though I hate myself for it, beneath the shock and fear, there's a dark flicker of vindication, gone almost as soon as it surfaces, drowned by real, aching worry for my sister. No matter how strained things have been between us, seeing my sister struck in front of hundreds of people on what should have been her happiest day knots my stomach. I empty my wine glass in one swallow, pour another, and brace for the inevitable. The call comes at 11:47 p.m. Mom's name glows on the screen. I let it ring 4 times before I steady my breath and pick up. "Mom," her sobs spill through the speaker. "Deborah," she chokes out, voice thready and small. "Your sister's hurt. Please, come." My instinct nearly wins, the same script I've spoken all my life forming automatically in my head. "I'll be right there. I'll fix it. I'll help." But I stop. The images flash in my mind. Wedding posts I wasn't supposed to see. Years of covering Nyla's chaos. Debts I'm still paying off. "I wasn't invited, Mom," I say quietly. "If I show up now, it'll only make things worse." Silence. I hear her breath catch, uneven. Then, in a whisper, "But she needs you. She's always needed you," I correct softly. She needed Travis. She wanted security. The picture-perfect life. What she needed from me was to stay out of the frame. "That's not fair, Deborah." "I know." I tilt my glass, letting the deep red swirl in the light from the city outside. Neither was leaving me out. More silence. I can almost see her face, that calculating stillness while she searches for the words that always worked before. Guilt, obligation, the certainty that Deborah will fix it. "I'm sorry for what happened," I add, gentler now. No one deserves that. But this time, I'm not the one who can fix it. The line clicks off. I stare at the dark screen, feeling something fundamental shift inside. For the first time, I've chosen not to dive headlong into their chaos. The calm that follows is almost disorienting. I sleep through the night, deeply, dreamlessly, something I haven't done in years. By the next evening, Jenna shows up carrying takeout from the Thai spot on 17th. We sit at the kitchen island, the muted TV flashing occasional clips from the wedding fiasco across the room. "You holding up okay?" she asks, twirling noodles on her fork. "It's been a lot. Better than expected," I admit, though the neighbors have been giving me those pitying looks every time I check the mail. Jenna smirks. "Mrs. Henderson flagged me down when I parked. Asked if you needed anything. I can't help but laugh." "Of course she did," I tell Jenna. "She showed up this morning with banana bread, the universal symbol for I heard the gossip and I'm worried." Jenna grins, then her expression softens. "Your mom call yet?" "Last night," I say. "I didn't go." Her eyebrows shoot up. "Seriously? That's new. Long overdue," I correct her, and she nods. Later, after dinner, a text from Marcus lights up my phone. Another small surprise in what's been an oddly quiet stretch of days. We've grown close lately, bonded by mutual exile from our families. "Saw more footage on the news," he writes. "You okay?" "Better than expected," I reply. "Good. Some families only value you when they need something fixed. Trust me, I know." The words linger, heavy but comforting, as if he's given shape to something I've felt all along. I'm still thinking about them when a knock rattles the front door just after 9. Through the peephole, I see my father standing on the porch, drenched from the downpour, no umbrella, water streaming from his gray hair down his lined face. He looks older, smaller than I remember. "Deborah," he calls, barely audible over the rain. "Please, I need to talk to you." I rest my forehead against the door, the vibration of his fist dull against the wood. Then he adds, voice cracking, "It's about the house. The bank's threatening foreclosure." My hand stills on the knob. Foreclosure? After 35 years in that Victorian? For a moment, I consider letting him stand there, soaked and waiting, to let him feel, just once, what being left out in the cold is like. But the sight of his slumped shoulders tugs at some old, unwanted instinct. With a resigned sigh, I unlock the door. "You've got 10 minutes, I say, stepping aside. "And this better not have anything to do with Nyla." He shakes his head as he steps inside, water dripping onto the rug. "It's worse than that." He pulls a thick manila envelope from his jacket, the edges warped from the rain. "Much worse." As I close the door behind him, a chill ripples through me that has nothing to do with the storm outside. While he towel dries his hair, I busy myself with the kettle, because some truths, I've learned, are easier to face with something warm in hand. When he reappears, he looks shrunken somehow, like the weight of the envelope is dragging him down. He holds it out, voice low. "We've been using your money for something else." The kettle whistles sharply, punctuating the confession. I pour the boiling water over the tea bags, letting the steam rise between us as I try to process his words. "What money?" I finally ask. "The monthly checks," he says. "For the house. 4 years ago, they'd told me they were falling behind on the mortgage. I'd been sending $1,100 every month since then. For the mortgage," I repeat slowly. "That's what you said." He exhales, rubbing the back of his neck. "Not exactly." He pulls the envelope from under his arm and slides it across the dining table toward me. I open it. The paper inside slightly damp, edges curling. Bank statements, loan documents, notices stamped in red, foreclosure pending. Then my eyes land on the number, $195,000. "You took out a home equity line of credit?" He nods without looking up. "For Nyla. After Eric left, she needed help. The kids needed stability." I flip through the pages, my chest tightening. Then I see it, the co-signers, Cynthia Alvarez and Nyla Alvarez. "Dad," I say slowly, "Nyla hasn't lived in that house for years. How could she co-sign?" He hesitates. "Your mother. She told the bank Nyla was living with us." The truth crashes over me. "So the money I've been sending every month?" He nods again, eyes full of shame. "It was never for the original mortgage," I whisper. "You've been paying the HELOC." I yank open a drawer, grab a calculator, and start punching numbers, my fingers shaking. 4 years, 12 months, 1,100 each time. $82,000, I say flatly. "You've taken $82,000 from me, under false pretenses." "Deborah, where did it go?" My hand slams the table, the sound sharp as thunder. Tea splashes across the papers, dark stains spreading through the bank statements. Neither of us moves. He stares at the mess, voice low. Nyla's debts, legal fees after Eric left, the down payment on her new place. Travis wanted certain standards. I laugh, but it's nothing like humor, just a jagged, bitter sound. Travis, the same man who struck her at their wedding, that's where my money went? He stays silent. That's all the confirmation I need. I stand, moving with the cold efficiency that's carried me through every repair, every rebuild. From the next room, I retrieve my phone and digital camera. "What are you doing?" he asks. "Documenting fraud," I say, snapping the first photo. The camera shutter snaps again and again, each click sharp and deliberate. "Bank fraud," I say evenly. Specifically, falsifying residence information on a loan application. "You can't," Dad whispers. "I absolutely can." My tone doesn't waver. I keep photographing, each document laid flat, captured cleanly. "And I will. It would destroy your mother," he pleads. "And Nyla's kids, don't do this." I lift one hand, palm out. "Don't you dare try to make this my fault. I'm not the one who lied. I'm not the one who stole." His expression collapses. "We never meant—" "Yes, you did." I set the camera down and meet his eyes. "You meant every bit of it. You just never thought I'd find out." My phone buzzes on the table. A message from Marcus, sending bank contact info now. My cousins handle mortgage fraud cases. I look back at Dad. "How much is left on the HELOC?" He swallows hard. "About 70,000. The foreclosure notice came yesterday. They're demanding full payment." I lift the camera again, finishing my documentation, each signature, every line of false information preserved in digital evidence. Dad sits motionless, watching, the weight of his choices sinking in for the first time. "Why now?" I ask quietly. "Why tell me this after 4 years?" He sighs, shoulders sagging. "Your mother thought we could refinance, but after the wedding story hit the news, no bank would touch us." His voice breaks, "And I couldn't carry it anymore. Not after what we did to you. Not after you were shut out." Before I can answer, my phone rings again. I answer automatically. Jenna's voice cuts through, brisk and urgent. "Heads up!" The next morning, I stand in the center of my living room, taking in the scene like an inspector preparing a report. Every detail has its place. The heavy oak dining table, a piece I restored myself from an 1880s farmhouse, dominates the space, transformed now into an exhibit of betrayal. Across its polished surface, I've laid the evidence: photos, statements, signatures, loan documents. When the knock comes, it's right on time. I open the door to Aunt Rosa, Dad's sister, the only one who ever refused to take sides. "You look exhausted, mija," she says gently, stepping inside. Her silver-streaked hair falls around a face lined with empathy. "Not exhausted," I tell her, adjusting a neat stack of papers. "Ready." Her gaze sweeps over the table. "You've been busy. Thank you for coming," I say softly. "I needed someone in this family who still believes in truth." Rosa squeezes my hand gently. "Family should tell the truth, not pretty lies," she says, and I feel a flicker of gratitude before the doorbell rings again. My stomach tightens. They're 15 minutes early, a tactic straight out of Cynthia Alvarez's playbook. Control the clock, control the room. "I'll make coffee," Rosa murmurs, slipping toward the kitchen. I open the door to find the three of them huddled together on the porch. Mom's face arranged in that perfect balance of wounded pride, Dad staring down at his soaked shoes, and Nyla half hidden behind them, arms folded tight across her stomach. "Come in," I say. My voice doesn't sound like mine. Calm, even, detached. They file inside, quiet as mourners. The sight of the documents spread across my dining table stops Nyla cold. She lets out a tiny gasp. Dad's shoulders sag further. Mom's mouth flattens into a hard white line. Rosa returns, setting untouched mugs of coffee on the table. I stay standing while they sit. No one speaks. The silence stretches thin until Mom breaks it, her voice brittle. "What is all this drama for, Deborah? If you need help with your finances, stop!" The word slices clean through her performance. "For once in your life, just stop and listen." I slide the first document across the table. "This is the home equity line of credit you took out 4 years ago. $195,000. with Nyla listed as a co-signer. Claiming she lived at the property, Dad's eyes close briefly, as if bracing for impact. This, I continue, pushing forward another sheet, is the rental agreement I signed when I moved out 12 years ago. The one that specifically prohibits you from using my financial information or claiming I reside there. I tap the next pile. Bank statements. These show my transfers. $1,100 a month, $82,000 total. Nyla's face drains of color. Mom? What is she talking about? Our mother, I say evenly, told me the house needed repairs, a new roof, foundation work, that you two were struggling to stay afloat in retirement. I agreed to help. My fingers shake slightly as I spread out the photographs, grainy stills from the bank's security footage. And these, I add, show her depositing my checks directly into the HELOC account. Cynthia lifts her chin, defiant. I did what I had to do to keep a roof over the children's heads. You kept that roof, I say quietly, with my money and my trust. The fury pounds just behind my eyes, but my voice stays steady, almost detached. The same money I earned working 60-hour weeks, I say, while paying off the cafe loan that failed. Nyla's head jerks toward me. Cafe loan? You said that was a refinance. Aunt Rosa's voice cuts softly through the tension. Your sister co-signed for your business, Mija. When it went under, she repaid every cent. Dad finally speaks, his tone rough with defeat. Debbie, we never meant for it to go this far. Don't, I say sharply, raising a hand. Intentions don't erase fraud. Fraud? Mom sputters. We're family. Family doesn't steal from each other, I reply. Family doesn't forge names on loan documents. Nyla's eyes fill with disbelief as she flips through the papers, hands trembling. I didn't know, Deborah. Mom told me it was a refinance, that you'd approved everything. I nod slightly. I believe you. Nyla may have been the favorite, but she was never the strategist. Mom's chin lifts, brittle with pride. Well then, what do you want? To send your parents to prison? To leave your sister and her children homeless? Cynthia, that's enough. The words come from Dad, sharp and unfamiliar. In 40 years of marriage, I've never heard him speak to her that way. Debbie has every right to be angry. He presses both palms flat against the table, his hands trembling. If it helps, we'll sign the house over to her. The side lot can be sold to repay what we owe. Cynthia's mouth snaps shut. She twists her hands in her lap, color draining from her face. I look at my father, really look. The same man who taught me how to sand old wood smooth again, how to restore instead of replace. His eyes meet mine, a blend of shame and faint relief, as if unburdening himself after years of carrying rot beneath the surface. I don't want your house, I say quietly. I just want this to end. Rosa opens her notebook, all calm professionalism. I spoke with a friend at First American Title, she says. We can file a quitclaim deed on the side lot today. Transfer it directly to Deborah. Dad nods. We could sell it. The Miller boy next door's been asking for that land for years. Wants to expand his garden. Fine, Mom mutters, her voice clipped, defeated. I don't need an apology, I tell them. And to my surprise, it's the truth. I just need peace. The room falls silent once more. But this time, it's a different kind of silence. Not brittle with denial, but dense with truth finally spoken aloud. 2 weeks later, we gathered at a title office downtown. The attorney's tone was cool and efficient as he explained each page, guiding us through the process step by step. Dad signed first, his hand steady, but his expression hollow. Then Mom picked up the pen, hesitated for the briefest moment, and scrawled her name across the line. There were no grand declarations, no pleas for forgiveness, no recriminations. I simply added my signature where indicated, accepted my copies, and stood. As we rose to leave, Dad reached out and touched my arm. I'm sorry, Debbie, he said, voice roughened with something close to grief, for everything. I gave a small nod. Any words I might have offered would have shattered the calm I'd fought so hard to build. Outside, on the sidewalk glinting with early fall sunlight, Nyla approached hesitantly. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her posture small. I'll pay you back, she said quietly. Every cent. Take care of your kids, I told her. Learn to stand on your own feet. She nodded, tears spilling freely. I will. I drove home alone, windows rolled down, the crisp autumn wind whipping through my hair. My phone rang, Jenna checking in. It's done, I told her. How do you feel? She asked. I thought about it. The anger still lived in me, but it had changed shape, no longer raw or consuming but tempered, steady, the kind of heat that hardens steel, like I finally stopped carrying what was never mine to bear, I said. 3 days later, a certified check arrived from the sale of the side lot. I studied the figure carefully, tallying the losses it would never fully cover. Not all of it, not even close. But as I folded the check into my wallet, I realized something had shifted. I'd gained something money couldn't measure. The power that comes from truth, the quiet strength of boundaries, the freedom of knowing I'm no longer responsible for holding everyone else together. For the first time in 35 years, the only life that needs repairing is my own. Morning light spills across my kitchen counters in the little mid-century ranch I've spent the last year restoring. A 3-bedroom refuge perched at the edge of the Flatirons, the view still catching me off guard every day. I run a hand along the oak countertop, the surface smooth now, the wood once scarred and splintered beneath my palms. My phone buzzes against the granite island. I expect a reminder from Balance Forward about tomorrow's financial abuse workshop. Instead, the screen lights with Nyla's name. Her message is simple. Thank you for letting me make things right. The kids miss you. I set my coffee mug down and realize, with quiet surprise, that I feel neither the old spark of anger nor the dull ache of duty that her name used to summon, just a steady, unshakable calm. Through friends, I've caught fragments of Nyla's new life. 3 jobs, no safety nets. She's finally standing on her own 2 feet, maybe for the first time since we were teenagers. Emma walks herself to school now. Lucas plays Little League because he wants to, not because anyone pushed him. I typed my reply slowly, weighing each word. I'm free Saturday afternoon if you'd like to bring them by. Her answer arrives almost immediately. Just me first. We need to talk. I don't hesitate before adding a boundary, firm and unapologetic. 2 o'clock. I have plans at 4. It feels natural now. Not selfish, but sane. Saturday comes wrapped in a soft rain that murmurs against the windows. When her small sedan pulls up, I notice the missing hubcap, the dent on the passenger door. No more shiny cars bought on borrowed credit. She stands on my porch clutching a small wooden box, her fingers white at the knuckles. Raindrops cling to her unstyled hair, darker and natural for the first time since she was 12. You look different, I say, stepping aside. 3 jobs will do that. Her attempt at a smile falters. The polished charm she once wore like perfume has faded. Not much time for highlights when you're cleaning offices at midnight. I guide her to the kitchen. 2 mugs of tea wait on the counter. No wine, no illusions of closeness. This is for you, she says, setting the wooden box between us. Dad found it while they were packing up the Victorian. I lift the lid. Inside lies our grandfather's pocket watch, the gold case dulled but intact. The only heirloom that ever mattered. The one neither of us inherited. The one I'd quietly wanted for years. How did you know? I ask. You mentioned it once, she says softly, when we were kids. I wind the tiny mechanism. It clicks once, twice, and begins to tick again, steady and strong after all this time. Maybe time doesn't erase mistakes, I murmur, watching the second hand move, but it teaches us when to stop making them. We sit together in the hush of rain against glass. The silence feels different now. No tension, no pretending. Just the fragile peace that comes when something finally, truly ends, not forced. No pretense of reconciliation, just 2 adults sitting across from each other, finally speaking truths that had been buried too long. What did you do with the money? She asks at last, her voice tentative. From the land sale? I meet her eyes squarely. I didn't keep it. Her brow furrows. Mom said, I opened accounts for Emma and Lucas. I interrupt. College funds. Her eyes widen. After everything we did? After, I'm done rescuing adults, I say quietly, realizing as I speak how right it feels. But children deserve a real start. When she leaves an hour later, there are no hugs, no hollow promises about holidays or new beginnings, but something in the air has shifted, a delicate, necessary reset, like a bone finally aligned after years of aching in the wrong position. That evening, I sit alone on my porch swing, the horizon drenched in gold as the sun sinks behind the mountains. My journal lies open on my lap. I write only 1 line. The softest revenge is peace and quiet. No bitterness follows the words, no sharp sting of resentment, only the deep, steady calm of a woman who has finally put down what was never hers to carry. For the first time, I feel entirely, quietly, free.